This broadcast is inappropriate for all ages, right here on hashtag WeAreMovieClub. It's time for Bad Movie Club. Salutations, I am Cam Ryan, I am conversation ready, and we're here to talk about Clerks for Bad Movie Club. Movies so bad that Nurgle made manifest, or they are made manifest in shit we should watch. Now, I say that this time more to get into the habit of saying it more, something like that more often. Not necessarily because I truly believe that. Part of this is me using this as an excuse to go back and watch some Kevin Smith movies, and being as that he proclaims them all to be shit himself. I'm hoping he doesn't mind. However, I like Clerks. It's not a great movie, and as Kevin has said many a time himself, it is barely a movie. Shot for in black and white for $28,000 on like a huge gamble of credit card debt. They filmed it and they sold it to Miramax, who I have no idea why. I guess they saw the merit in the movie and saw that like there wasn't a lot of stuff out like this at the time, and decided to take the risk. Thank goodness. It certainly wasn't because someone at Disney was like, yeah, let those cocksuckers make a movie. Because there were quite a bit of non-Disney-like things. But I think this was back in the time when Disney was still distributing porn, so who knows? This is distributed or published or whatever you want to call it by Miramax, which, if you don't know, is one of the faces that Disney uses to distribute things without putting their name on it, because they like the money from it, but they don't necessarily like branding everything with Disney unless it's stars and rainbows and sunshine. It's just kind of the fact of it. Throw that away too. So Clerks is a very particular movie. I've not done a review of this yet. I'm going to pull up my show notes. But I have not done a review of this yet because I've not been feeling well. Even this video is going up late. But I did watch it on Sunday, and you can watch it Mallrats with me next week over on Rabbit/Camerai, and we'll see how it goes. I had some problems this Sunday, but that's okay. We got it done. I'm looking at my notes, and it is literally like I was thinking of. I said, let's find how many times I use the word conversation. Let's do that. Let's find and count. 12. Okay, so for my notes that are only, okay, it's not as much as I thought. 132 lines. 12 instances of conversation. It comes up everywhere. Because this has some fairly infamous conversations, and that's where he got the material for it. If you ever listen to like the Evening Kevin Smith stuff and just the Hollywood Babylon podcast, any of the other Smodcast co-podcasts, he talks about this stuff all the time. It's like he worked with what he had going, or pre-programmed bits, I think is even a term he used at one point. And he's used stories from his life, from Jay's life, from Walt Flanagan's life, Scott Mosier, like, and he's putting stuff in there. Hell, he's even making like a trilogy based off an idea that he had in a podcast, which was Tux, Yoga Hosers, and then Moose Jaws, which is yet to come out. And I'll work my way there. It would be really funny. It's like by the time I got done doing this run of Kevin Smith movies, if Moose Jaws was out, that would be really funny. But like, let's just cover some of the major key points here. We've got Dante, who I think is supposed to be the everyman, if you want to break it down like that. He's the victimized guy, the guy that feels everything's happening to him. It's always someone else's fault, which I think, especially at the time this was made, that was kind of the statement, is like everybody seems to cry and whine like that. Everything's happening to them. They'll relate. Not only will they relate to that character, but maybe they'll better themselves based off of it. And to Randall's point, like a lot of times to counter that, it's like, oh, shit or get off the pot, stand up for yourself, or just don't care. which I think is actually the part that a lot of his audience tends to relate to better. That they tend to go with, like, hey, just don't give a fuck. Why not? So let's see. Just going through, like, we got some good music choices throughout this too. I really thought it was funny. Like, just in the background, like there's. I'll reiterate later, but there's the Death Star contractor conversation. In the background is Chewie. What a Wookiee! Or maybe it's just What a Wookiee, and then the song's called Chewie. But like, it's just really good background music when it's background music, and he picks some really good power music to put over it when, like, he wants the music and the music and the action to kind of grab your attention. Even like, I'm just remembering now, like, even when like the guy hits the hockey ball, there's actually this really great sound effect that kind of like dominates the scene and just accents what's happening. He's got a good eye, he just can't move the camera, at least at this point in his career. He gets better. He's gotten better over the years, some, or he's hired guys that know better, one of the two. The first little, like, so okay, consider this as a series of shorts almost. That's probably why they try to make a cartoon of it. You've got Dante and Randall in these scenarios. It's almost like written like a webcomic now that I think about it. You've got him opening the store, so it's like first him versus the store. Like, I guess it's first him versus his boss, and then versus his own morality. He's trying to wrestle with himself whether or not he should go in at all. Wrestle with the boss whether or not he needs to go in at all. And then he comes in and he literally wrestles with the store trying to get it open. And then the first, like, other villain that we see anyways is the shitty anti-smoking guy, which, it's just a fucking weird thing. I guess it was a commentary on, like, the weird things like that. Rachel Lee Cook, one of my great cinematic loves, for both talent and beauty, the first, like, ever, like, I felt for when I was a kid and she was a kid and she was doing the This Is Your Brain on Drugs stuff. That was her. That was Rachel Lee Cook, the same girl from She's All That. And she just smashed the frying pan into everything. And I guess that was probably the first time, yeah, that, like, I fell in love with Crazy. So, my life. But yeah, it's such a shitty way to go about things, and then just riling people up into, like, violence, like, for no real gain. Like, maybe he sold a couple sticks of gum at this one store, and yeah, maybe he's gonna go to the next store down the road after this, but, like, he's carting around, like, his big ass lung, pictures, trach rings, probably making up stories even. Like, there's enough out there where you can just talk to people, you can hand out flyers, you can, like, post stuff on telephone poles back then. Jeez. And of course, Veronica comes to save the day because Dante can't handle anything himself. There's this weird thing of, like, emasculation, and then you, like, put an Oedipus complex with it, where everyone's attracted to their mom, and not necessarily, like, that they're attracted to their mom, but they're attracted to women who will stand up, do things for them, and take care of them. Such as Veronica, like, she stands up, handles the mob. Get away from my boy. She brings them lasagna. It's like, you eat up. And the idea there is that she supplies the needs, or his needs. Like, and that's where the lines get crossed with the Oedipus complex. Is like, as you get older, sex becomes a need that gets in line with the same needs that you've had your entire life. I sound like I'm justifying getting with my mom here, and that's not what I'm doing at all. This is horrifying. Okay, but the real punchline in that whole scene is that he ends up selling cigarettes to one of the guys who's throwing cigarettes at him. I don't even know where they got the cigarettes to throw at him. It's just fucked up. So, like, I love this bullshit where they're sitting behind the counter, like, basically laying on the floor, which I don't know why you'd want to do that anyways. I guess he cleans up, so, like, whatever. But they have some bullshit conversations about school and relationships, and there's some really good stuff in here that adds some, like, really good commentary about, like, the roles of men and women sleeping together. And, like, you see this as a trope, like, in a lot of places, a lot of coming-of-age stories in particular, where it's like, guys come like super easy or early or whatever, and then like if a woman has the same problem, it's a miracle. I think if you look at the American Pie series, like that's actually a good example. Or if they get too excited, they happen to squirt or whatever, they get embarrassed about things. They get embarrassed about enjoying sex, or like there's very little appreciation gotten like when like you have a slightly more complex system. Or you don't have the stamina to do the very simple things that they require. Like, I think it is worth a point that like getting someone, especially women who statistically either don't or have not less orgasms per encounter, or no orgasms per encounter. Like I think that's it made some good points there. I don't think like we should have parades, but hell, it's a good point. The whole thing leads to like a who have you slept with conversation, which is probably a little bit more relatable to everybody in general. I mean, Dante says 12 because that's what he's managed to do, and knowing that. Or how the male perspective is there of like it being a conquest. He's proud of his 12, and then Veronica says 3, and like I don't know, it's kind of weird because at first he's kind of put off by it, and then like he gets a little twisted about things later, and I think comes from that idea of like men conquering women. For as far as sex goes, it's about the conquest and using, etc. And it shows kind of what a shitty person he is, versus her saying like, "Hey, there's only a few guys that I ever really cared to let walk that path with me." Let's say it that way. But there's a couple guys that like I liked them enough, just not that much. So like we just go down on them, and it's not a big deal because of how her mentality is about it. So it just perspective is a lot of things, and they're playing with that a lot here. There's the whole snowballing joke, which brings up the 37. Sorry, one of my favorite things is like he's being a complete ass. He's totally out of line. We see that throughout the whole fucking movie. And he's like, "Don't suck any dick through the parking lot," and the guy's like, "Oh," and he follows her out there like just some random passerby, and he's like, "Hey, you get back here!" And like, what is he gonna do? Like, we don't see him do shit for himself or anyone the entire movie. Like, I have no idea what he thought he was gonna do. The only person that he feels like he can stand up to at all is Randall, and he's not very good at it. So we got this jerk customer, and being someone who worked at Blockbuster Video, I feel for him a little bit, but guy trying to return a video, and Dante's just trying to manage the situation. He's just like, "Yeah, I'm sure he'll be here soon. You can leave the videos with me if you like. I'll return them for you. It's not a problem." So the question there is just whether or not like they get returned late, and if it had been my store and we had a situation like that where someone just didn't show up on time, we would have taken all the everything in the box, put them in another box or another shelf, and then like everything in that box would have been no late fee, or no late fee for that period, because still people turn things in like 3 weeks late for whatever reason. That was such a good scam. Video rental. I'm glad it's done with. So Randall finally comes over. He does this fun bit with the oh man, with the lady he's trying to rent dental school. What shit. Like, cause he gets it out of her and he's like, "That's what I wanted." And it's like, "I bet you $20 you won't get it." There's no way she paid him. No fucking way. And I would have done that, but I would have given her the video. I would have been like, "Here you go." Like, and maybe I would have paid for the video, especially if I was late, but I give a fuck. Randall doesn't. So who knows if he tried to push for the money or whatnot. But he's just alienating people left and right, which is hilarious in this. So we quickly, like at this point, we start realizing like what a piece of shit Dante's, and he's still talking to his ex. He still wants to be with her, but the only reason he's not with her is because she doesn't want to be with him or just with him, because apparently she used to cheat on him all the time, and he caught her at it, and he never did anything about it. He's such a piece of, he's fucking just horrible person who is just super weak. So, like, I don't know. I feel like I don't need to mention the video store again this entire time, because the only things that happen there are things that have nothing to do with the video store, or just Randall pissing off customers in like this weird episodic like webcomic thing come to life. And now I can't get that out of my head that this is literally like, it's, webcomics weren't a big thing back then, but Kevin Smith is a big comic fan, which is well noted and documented. So like, it's almost like he wrote a comic book and then brought it to life, and maybe that's how he wrote the scenes in his head, these conversations. Let's see. Oh yeah, because we have Randall selling the cigarettes to the little girl. We have the guidance counselor conversation, where like he comes in to count the eggs. It's like, it's important to have standards. There's got to be a perfect dozen somewhere, because you see guidance counselors see all these shitty kids come through, and like they've got to talk to the absolute worst ones. Guidance counselors don't get to talk to the good kids. Like you see stuff in like Easy A where it's like I don't know her. Why don't I know her? I should know all the students, or at least all the fucked up students. And it's like, and I think yeah, she's talking to her husband at the time. He's like, oh, I know why you don't know who that is, because she's a good kid. Man. Oh god. Okay, I have to keep talking about other movies, but that's one of the things that like going back and watching older movies, is that you see things that expand and derive into other movies. Oh, there's a great line here after the Jizzmopper conversation, and I just want to go ahead and say, like, I don't want to get into what a Jizzmopper is. I don't want to rehash the conversation. I just totally hope that's still a job somewhere that somebody gets to do, because if you can just get over it, it's good money. But probably mostly the ladies have to do it themselves, which is a shame. They work hard enough as it is. Oh yeah, so we have the milkmaid conversation with people coming in trying to get the milk from the back. I don't care if you do it if we're friends. It's fucking weird and silly. Look at the front. Grab the one that has the earliest date or the latest due date. Sure, but don't fuck over people's lives by rearranging the goddamn milk. It's put out in the way so that like the least amount of product is lost in the entire application. Of course, if you don't live in America and you don't even have pasteurized milk that can do this stuff, bully for you, because you're getting fresh, good milk, and I hate you just a little bit. I don't like I should be drinking milk anyways. Okay, so Randall has a great line in here. This job would be great if it weren't for the fucking customers. Like, I totally feel that. I've been in jobs where I feel that. I've been in jobs where it's not retail or anything like that, where I still feel like that. It's like, why do I have to deal with this person who just wants to be an ass? It's like, no, we don't change tires. We sell software. Why do you think that does that? Man, and they do some really good things about it. And of course, Kevin's pulling from his own experience as a clerk at the Quick Stop, which I still think that's a monumental piece of history, that he took an old job that he had and put it in a movie. He promoted this business, the Quick Stop and RST Video, and they're still there to this day. I think, like, because in Clerks 2, like, they start there, and I want to say, like, it was still there for years after Clerks, but I think they tore it down and remodeled or something since. I could be wrong. But of course, by the time Veronica is bringing him lasagna, he's much calmer about the 37 dicks. Dante, I still don't know who the fuck he was on the phone with, but Dante's calling somebody and his shitty boss like skipped off Vermont. I don't understand working there that dedicatedly, that pissed off all the time, and never doing anything about it. Like, what did they? I think in Clerks 2 they say he worked at the Quick Stop for about 10 years before it burnt to the ground. I can't get that in my head. This fucking obsession with hockey people have. Like, I've played sports. I've played some rugby. I've played lacrosse. I've watched hockey. It's great. It's good. But I don't get where you like hockey so much that you're gonna close the store down, play it on the fucking roof, only have one damn ball. It's just a lot of stupid there. You know, like, because that's what I would have asked. That's one of the first things I would have asked. Be like, who has the ball back? What do you mean you only brought one ball? I'm not even fucking playing with you idiots. Get the fuck out of my store. And then there's just a lot going on this day. This is like a really, really weird day for him to not supposed to be at work. And then on top of everything else, he would have known about a lot of this stuff happening had he not gone to work. Like Julie Dwyer's wake, I think. I may have the name wrong, but like his friend, or one of his exes is dead. Let's go to the wake. Randall fucks it up. I cannot believe that. Like, they spent all that time in story, and they spent a decent enough time on the camera just setting this up, having weird conversations on the way over there. Yeah, because that's where the sucking your own dick conversation is. Jesus, did I even make a note of that? No. Fucking weird. This autofellatio is a thing. I didn't realize it was detrimental to your health, per se. What? What's happening? Oh, okay. So, like, I don't know. By the time they get back from the funeral, it's dark out. I don't know if this was supposed to take place in winter or what. Like, people are wearing heavy coats, but it's New Jersey. It's Jersey. A physical trainer guy comes and giving him shit about, like, I'm pretty sure he's an actor that has shown up earlier in the movie. Scott Mosier shows up a couple times. Who's the other guy that shows up a couple times? Oh, it's the guy. Can't remember his real name, but the guy who's really offended. I think that's coming up. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not going over every little bit. But the guy's really offended, and Randall shows him a dirty magazine, and he's like, ah! I'm sorry. He's like, ah! And runs out of the store. It's so funny. There's a lot of good humor in this, and there's a lot of intelligent humor in this, spattered with like dirty words and just crude scenarios. And it's the type of humor I really like because it's fun. Like, it's fun to do bad simple stuff or things that people find morally void or ambiguous. Because there's no other point to them other than for them to be fun. Or mean, I guess. But, like, doing it in an intelligent manner and then painting it a stupid color, I find really, really neat. Just imagine somebody did, like, a really cool metal sculpture and then did it, like, green, like, painted the whole thing tiny green and pink checkers. Of course, you get the one colorblind friend with you. It's like, why do you paint it all the same color? Let's see. I don't know. So much of this is so dumb. We've got the guy who goes to the bathroom and ends up having a heart attack. Oh yeah, Dante gets fined for Randall selling. I couldn't let that stand. I couldn't possibly let it stand. Be like, there's another employee here. He's washing the desk for me. He might have done it. So at least they have to take him to court for it. But Dante's willing to take the bull, which is, I mean, it's painted as being a good friend, but it's just being weak-willed. And then he's okay about it because the prospect of sleeping with Caitlin again, because we know that based on past history that it's not going to go well. It's not going to like be a good relationship or anything. So the most he's going to really get out of it is some cheap sex. Though, probably in his mind, that's the least he's going to get out of it, which is his mistake. And we kind of prove that later on. So, I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. The whole irony of Randall driving to Big Choice Video and then renting porn, of all things. But, like, the order that he does at Artist Video is, like, 24 titles of porn and then Scrappy Dappy Doo or whatever. So there's the whole thing where, like, Dante goes home to get ready for a date so that he can cheat on his girlfriend. If you have a contract, abide by your contract. I'm all for people openly dating and open relationships, etc., polyamory, but agree upon things. Don't betray people's expectations. So Caitlin has this whole thing where it's like she fucked the dead guy in the bathroom, and like just looking at the body styles, like I don't see that they obviously didn't kiss. And it was on a dirty bathroom floor. I get that might be hot for somebody. I like a bed. Or somewhere where you can get tied up, but maybe standing up in the bathroom, fine, but I don't know. And it's not on a public dirty bathroom. So they call the police. Caitlin gets carted away as insane. This is referenced later in one of the other movies. He still has an erection, and like Randall still has the balls to like ask about it. Like, how can he still, And there's a fun little small world thing there where like they're like, "This got to be the weirdest thing you got called in." And he's like, "No, I once got called in on a guy who broke his neck trying to suck his own penis." And it's like, I'm like, "Oh, I know that dude." We missed it earlier. There was, it was during the guidance conversation. There's a fun punchline about like how it's important to have a job that means something, like saying guidance counselors don't mean anything, but like, so she like jerks off animals for artificial insemination. And I'm really curious which animals, because even in 1990, like this is probably before then. Oh no, this is 1994. So yeah, even then, like then we had plenty of animals running around. We didn't really need a lot of that unless it was for science. And then maybe. So yeah, we're almost done with this. So we go into this life conversation leading to a shit get off the pot conversation. I pick one or the other lady conversation. And Dante examples exactly how weak a piece of shit he is. Because he ends up saying, like, once my potty lid was closed, so I shit my pants. Like, that's how weak and feeble a character Dante is. Like, I mean, the actor, Brian, I thought I was going to be able to remember his name. It's Brian something. He's a decent actor. He's been in a few other things. I think... No, Vulgar was still a View Askew film, but I think that was like one of Scott Mosier's dark fantasies or something. We'll put that on the list. We gotta do that at some point. I don't think I can get away with that on Scary Movie Squad. I mean, it's gonna have to go in Bad Movie Club. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole fucking thing with Jay invited Dante out, and like he says no to drug dealers, but like. So, like, it's not that he doesn't have moral principles, it's that he's unwilling to change the situation that is happening to him. He doesn't feel like he has control of things. He's very much a fatalist of sorts, and I can relate to that aspect of it, but my fate still is that I have taken control of this or that in my life. Man. Apologies, I didn't mean to cough in the mic at all. The whole thing, Veronica confronting Dante. Who gives a fuck if they make up, honestly? So here's how the scenario goes. Either they get back together, poor Veronica, maybe Dante's a better person. They get back together, just poor Veronica. They break up, Veronica moves on to bigger and better things, and maybe Dante finds a way. Now, we can figure out over the next 10 years or whatever, until Clerks 2, that yes, he and Veronica didn't end up working out eventually. So whether or not they did is irrelevant in the overall story of things. And we get this horrible fucking story for his love life again in Clerks 2, between him and Mrs. Smith. She'd probably hate if I said it that way. I am floundering on her name, though. It's Kevin Smith's wife. Cannot remember. I'm so sorry. Oh, my brain. I've been sick. I don't remember things. And it's not even the movie we watched. We'll get there. I'll try to remember by then. But there's a great scene where Dante beats the shit out of Randall with like bread. and like snack food and just ridiculous shit that obviously doesn't hurt him. And so like his big complaint is like, you didn't have to strangle me. But Randall helps him clean up the store. They kiss and make up or whatever. Whatever. Ugh. So they end up reconciled. So it's this weird episodic shit. So you gotta imagine that, like, not like to this degree, not to the ninth degree, but like maybe to the fourth degree, shit like this happens on almost a daily basis, based on the primary aspect of them just being fucking bored and frustrated with life. So why not let the robots do the work? Like, we're gonna try to get something out of this shitty movie, that I love, for the record. Now, because me liking something and it being good are completely different things. So this is a bad movie that I really like and would recommend to anyone who can who is used to holding conversations. Because this is full of good ones and talking points and things that are still relevant today. I almost didn't go back to it. The Star Wars or Death Star contractor conversation, I think, is completely relevant today. It's actually more relevant today now that the stormtroopers have gone away from being clones, because they're still clones all the way through 1 through 6 and Rogue Squadron, of course, or Rogue One. But by episode 7, we see that they're indoctrinating people to replace the clone soldiers. So those are real people that most of them don't have a choice about becoming stormtroopers. But some of them do, and some of them find that sort of pathway against it, for that need reprogramming or whatever. And I think Finn's supposed to be like one of the first ones. But that same principle applies to like contractors and stuff that have to work on the Death Star or Starbase Killer. People, that's a planet-sized weapon. People had to build that. Like, you can't get droids for all of it. Maybe most of it. Maybe the droids work faster. They go to 24-hour shifts. In very least, they rotate out more efficiently, so that they don't go through wear and tear as fast. I don't know. I'm not a Death Star planner, but people were involved, and probably there's a lot of conscripts. I would imagine a lot of people that were involved in the first 2 Death Stars, God, that's just ridiculous, you gotta say that, were kind of forced into it, or they were extorted into it with money that they just couldn't get anywhere else. It's like, you come do this, and we'll set you up for life until we need another one. And then they probably grab those same people and be like, yeah, we don't care if we paid you off for life. We need this, so you're gonna come back and do it again. But that's Star Wars. That's not Clerks. It's just there's so many good conversation points in there, and throughout his movies, there's a great comic book and Star Wars things. All things under the Disney brand now, just like this movie was, well, as far as Miramax is concerned. So, we'll be talking about shit next week. I think there's a lot more comic book conversation happening in Mallrats than Star Wars, per se. Oh, that's not true. That's not true, but we'll see next week. Join us next Sunday, Rabbit/Camera Eye, and we'll do a little movie watching together. Yeah? Yeah? No? I don't know. So until you see me next time, this has been Bad Movie Club, right here on #WeAreMovieClub. If you want to see anything else we're up to, go to click the annotations and they'll take you to our other channels. Thanks for watching.